This week, Elliott Center at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro is celebrating its 25th anniversary. And as part of that ceremony, we have a very special guest to appear this week. He was born in 1913 in Vincennes, Indiana, and he wasted very little time in getting on to pursue his career in show business. For instance, at about age 12 or 13, he joined a traveling stock company. He later went to join a troupe in a showboat that traveled on the Missouri River, and then, of course, went on to play several stages of the vaudeville type. His radio debut came in 1937, and his long-running television show on CBS went from 1953 to 1970. He is many things. He's a comic, he's a clown, he's a painter, he's a writer, he is a composer, having composed over 800 songs in some 36 symphonies, which is something many people don't know about him. He also goes by many names, such as Clem Cadiddlehopper, Freddie the Freeloader, San Fernando Red, George Appleby. The list goes on and on. But perhaps the best way to introduce him is with this videotape montage. Ladies and gentlemen, Red Skelton. Johnny, to take your coat and camera?
No, I got it. I'll put it out for you. Thank you. Thank you. Right.
All right, let's just clip this mic on.
Yeah, I have some oatmeal. Everybody wants to grab my coat. You know, I ain't going to let them.
Well, I'm afraid they'll pawn it off.
I told them earlier, I said I trapped it under the sink. No, that's a lovely coat. I got a couple of years ago for Christmas. Supposed to be mink, but every time you pass a dog, the hair stands straight up. You know? The little lady in the car, she says, "Gee, that's a lovely lining." I said, "You got to paste that hair on something, you know?"
Why do you carry a camera with your coat?
Well, I take pictures of the coat all the time. No, I take pictures all day long. I usually carry a Polaroid with me, and then when Mrs. Skelton's not with me, I write her a letter every day, and even when I'm home, I write a letter to her. I write her a love letter. I write a love letter every day, and I draw a little pencil sketch to illustrate something in the letter. And some words I can't spell, I draw a picture. Sort of like hieroglyphics. Then I take pictures, and then I write on the bottom of the picture what it is, and that way it's like she's with me.
Very nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very nice. You got the...
She would have been with me, but she's got that flu, you know.
Everybody has gotten that this year.
It's Russian flu.
A lot of chimney sweeps are stricken with it.
You can tell when you got this Russian flu because instead of seeing little, remember this, when you don't see little spots in front of your eyes, you see little red squares. See, I don't know if you saw my cane or not that I got in Russia. We went into this. I told some of the students last night about this. I walked up to, they have windows in the hotel lobby, and if you want to go to the ballet or the opera, you walk up and stand in line. They don't care who you are. So I walk up and I said, "Pardon me, madam." She says, "Don't call me madam." She says, "We're comrades. We're all the same here and everything." I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a tourist from America. I didn't really know." She says, "Yes, I know. What is it? Do you want it?" I said, "I'd like to get tickets for the opera." She says, "Which opera did you want to see?" I says, "Comrade Butterfly."
Would you?
I have fun. I have fun.
I don't mean to butt in, but I have a job I have to do. See, they sent me in here for some reason.
When is the regular guy coming? No. Yeah, I never did a day's work in my life. You don't look at this as work, do you really? No.
No.
No. No, really and truly. In show business, you either like it or if it gets to be work, I'd quit. I never did a day's work in my life, really and truly. Yet people say, you work hard on stage. I don't. I lose from 4 to 8 pounds every performance.
But you've stayed pretty much the same weight. Can I interrupt just a second? You once quoted, or somebody quoted you as saying, they said, Red, can I say Red?
Sure.
Okay. They said, Red, what about physical activity? And you said something to the effect, it's one of my favorite quotes. You said, let me tell you, I don't jog, I don't play tennis, I don't even watch football on TV. You said, the only exercise I get is being pallbearers for friends of mine who did exercise.
Yes. Yeah. That's the only exercise is to all these different things. You know, people, they walk up and say, gee, you look good, you know. That's one of the 3 ages of man. Youth, middle age, and gee, you look good. No, but I don't let age or any of that stuff bother me, you know. You've got getting old. You hit a certain age, see, you can get away with murder. You do anything you feel like doing. Only you don't feel like doing it.
Yes, indeed. This is going to be a fun time, I think, already. I have to leave on a bus pretty soon. But
you still driving? That busing sure kept you going, didn't it? Oh, did you hear about the little lady who was going to have a baby? And it was 9 months, 10 months, 11 months, 12 months, and no little baby yet. So the doctor takes the stethoscope and he listens. A little voice says, not coming out there, you tell me what school you're busing me to. You know, you'll notice about me, I have an impediment in my speech. I stop every once in a while to breathe. Yeah, go ahead. I don't.
I'm having a lot of, no, please. Yeah. My studio is your studio.
Well, thanks. Anybody want to buy it?
I'm paying for the time, but
I made that mistake once. I had some friends come out, and I said, "Now I'll be gone for a while. Just treat my house like it was your own," and they sold it. I hope I don't have a green tongue because I've been eating these things.
Why don't you show them?
Yeah, no, these what do they call them? Secrets or whatever they are. And I did 2 shows in a row in the same evening, which is pretty rough to do.
You only usually do one, right?
I do one, yeah, because I'm out on the stage for 2 hours. They say to me, they've never, you know, when they first book you, well, will they do about 45 minutes? The guy says, he bows that long. Yeah, and the only act in show business takes bows to hisses. You know?
What was it Gleason said, though? It's the booze I really love, not the applause. But of course, he's a comedian. You know, Gleason is a...
Oh, really?
No, but anyway...
That's your first step of having possibilities of developing into a total stranger.
I hope that doesn't happen.
No.
We understand that you lost your ring up in Maryland. Some nice folks brought it back to you. What we did was we sort of took a precaution. And before we get started with anything, we have something we all chipped in. We went down to the 7-Eleven. And we got something that we think you should use in place of the ring, since your ring is so valuable and so meaningful to you, that you could wear in Greensboro so nothing would happen to it. Johnny, if you have, this is called a ring pop. It's got a sucker on the on the end of the ring. It's shaped in a diamond, and if you get tired of wearing it, you can eat it.
How do you like that? In 10 minutes, he makes a sucker out of it. Yeah. It's like a junior. It says, what happened to your front tooth? He says, I shift gears on a lollipop. Oh, the one, junior, you're walking down the street. The little kid, I don't have my hat, so you can't do the thing.
Wait a minute, wait. You need a hat?
Yeah.
Mike, can we get a hat?
Yeah, give me a hat.
We just happen to have these flown in.
Oh, isn't that something? Yeah, little
Take your
hat.
pick.
Just this one right here. That's fine.
Okay.
Fine, thank you. Thank you. God, was that guy Reef Peas? Yeah, he says, hold on. Junior says, he's walking down the street and he sees this preacher and he says, yeah, pardon me, are you a preacher? And he says, yes, I am. He says, could you answer a question for me? He says, if I can, little boy. What is it? He says, is it true that we came from dust? He said, that's right, we came from dust. He said, and when we go on, we pass back to dust? He says, that's right, we pass back to dust. He says, would you mind coming and go with me up to my house and look under the bed because somebody's either coming or going?
There is, here, you want to hold this for just a second? Never know when we might need it again.
Yeah.
I want to put you on the spot about two things, and you can refuse to either one of them. I think through reading some things about you, it was evident that a lot of times before you started rehearsals in the morning, you get to the studio very, very early. And it is said of you that you like to tinker on the piano. I said in the introduction, I don't know if you heard or not, that you wrote over 840 songs, some 36 symphonies.
12,000 musical selections, 8,000 of them are copyrighted. I've written 64 symphonies. London Philharmonic, I've recorded 4 of them. And,
amazing.
Yeah.
Would you maybe consider a few bars of one of your compositions? We put a piano back there with.
I'll tell you why. I'm like most people. I can compose. I compose with one finger. I put down the notes that I want, and I hand it to my conductor. And he then, I put it down. I can take music down, and. But as to sit down and play, I cannot do it, so I wouldn't...
Who's your composer?
I'm the composer.
No, I mean, not, I'm
the
sorry.
Arranger.
You have to forgive me, I just started today.
I have several different... you better hurry, it's going to be dark for you to get back. So I just started today, so hurry, it'll be dark before you get back. You know? No, I have several arrangers. There's one fellow by the name of Lincoln. And then I have people who have helped me, like Fritz Lowe, who wrote My Fair Lady and things like that, who sit down and say, this would be nice here. I said, how would French horns sound here? And he said, no, you don't want French horns there. Like in a Japanese number recently, I took over to him and he says, you should have those bell chimes in the background. Every once in a while, I'll run them down. And I said, well, how do you write bell chimes in there? He says, I don't know. And he gets on the phone and calls New York, says, what kind of notes you put down for bell? So it's kind of, yes, it's kind of interesting.
One of the reasons I mentioned the piano is because I had to ask a very obscure question, and that's, so we had the piano back there for effect. But is it true that once in Atlantic City, New Jersey, you took an axe to a piano?
Yeah.
Would you tell
Chop
us
the legs off of it.
Would you tell?
Madam Schumann-Heint was appearing there in concert. And at the time, I was at the City Auditorium with a master of ceremonies at a walkathon. Well, I used to go to work at 9 o'clock at night and work till 2 o'clock in the morning, and then leave the stage once in a while when they're getting ready to go on the air to make people think that the thing was falling apart out there. The students were, the contestants were fainting from exhaustion and stuff, you know, and it was people were cheering and yelling. That's to get people to come down, you know, swindle. And Nucky Johnson, who was one of the, at the time, they use that instead of saying a mafia, they usually go like this, you know. So, but Nucky Johnson would go, when there were big headliners playing in the town, and bring them over to the walkathon. And they'd sit there for a few hours. So Madam Schumann-Heint gets up, and she had her pianist with her. And they kept applauding until finally she went up to sing a song. So I'm standing on the stage, and she says to me, she says, now, you're very funny. You got I can't do dialects. She says, you're very funny, but don't stay on the stage while I'm out here. So I said, fine, I'll go back and eat some sauerkraut, and I'll come right back, you know. Well, so while she's singing, she picked one of her things, like the best thing that she does, and it runs long. Now, this is a walkathon. You know, these people, you do something 5 minutes later, they want to see something else. So while she's singing, I'm standing back there, and I'm conducting him all of a sudden now. Now, she starts laughing, see? So she drags it out longer. Now, she's getting into the spirit of the thing. Opera stars are funny. They all want to be actors, you know. Comics, clowns, and comedians and stuff. So now she's acting it out. So I start throwing flowers out like this, out of the top of my head, big bouquet of flowers on the stage, and I slam the piano lid down, I said, that thing does have a finish to it, don't it? You know, and she's trying to sing and laugh at the same time, and so finally it got to the part where it do, you know, you know, all those things. And I start sawing on the piano. All of a sudden it went boom down on the stage. And then for an encore, I said, there's a song that I sing. It's called Singing in the Rain. And she said, I know the number. And, you know, I'm singing in the rain. I said, if you don't know it, just keep singing, I'm singing in the rain. Now she starts singing, I'm singing in the rain, see? Now I come out and I put a raincoat on her. Now the audience knows what's going to happen because I do this I do this to everybody that comes up, you know? So I put the raincoat on her and I put the rain hat on her and I put a box of Unita biscuits under her arm, you know? Now she keeps saying, I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. Now I start squirting seltzer at her, see? Then throw a bucket of water on top of her, you know, until finally gets a fire hose. We hit her and she went across the stage sliding, you know. Well, and show you how nice people are. She says that's the most fun she'd had in a long time. And dear little lady died about a few years. I probably gave her a cold, you know. But she died a couple of years later. But I always remembered Madame Schumann-Hein for being so nice. And but that's what I did. I chopped the legs off the piano.
Shame on you.
I stole a piano from MGM once, you know. They said they had a prop on the stage. I said, gee, I'd like to have one of those. You got about 9 of them there. They said, you couldn't get it out of the studio. I said, what do you mean? They said, well, they watch this place like a hawk. Everybody takes things out of here. I said, really? Now, I'm new there. It's my first picture. So I went over to the Culver City Van and Storage Company, and I hire a guy to help me. We come driving in the back gate with this big van. And so I went in, I held up a piece of paper, and I said to the guy, it's coming in, send it over from the other studio, 20th Century Fox, and you double talk. And the guy looks at me, and we drove on. So he said, where we go? I said, let's go up to the prop department. There might be something up there. So, the director's brother, his name was Lou Berzegi. Frank Berzegi was the director of the picture. And I said to Lou what I was going to do, and Lou was with me, and we got on these white outfits and stuff, see? So Lou stays in the background in the truck and stuff. We drive up to the prop department, and I said, well, got this board, a piece of paper on it, one of those clipboards, nothing written on it even, just a lot of lines. So I said, I'm over to pick up and I see it. I said, a piano. He says, which one? I said, I don't know. It just says piano, large white piano. And they said, well, the only one we have is this one over here. I said, well, they needed it 20th century right away. So they even take the legs off of it so that they can slide it in the thing, in the wagon. Now I go out the front gate. I don't go back out the back. So as we're going, the guy stops. I says, well, there's a piano. We got to deliver right away over to the 20th Century Fox. And he said, I said, sign here. And the guy signs this blank paper. Now, a couple of days later, it's all over the lot. Somebody stole a piano, see? And I says, no kidding. I said, no, they wouldn't even let me take one of them lousy little props over here I wanted to take the other day. It was a little head, a statue of some kind. I said, gee, that's a fine thing. You steal a piano, you can't do that. Now they need the piano. The word comes out, they're going to do retakes with Jose Iturbe, and they need this big white piano to make it match in the scene. There's no way they can do it. So I went into Jerry Mayer's office, who I knew very well, L.B. Mayer's brother. And I said, could I see Mr. Mayer? And she said, well, he's kind of big. I said, this is kind of important. And the door, he said, hey, come on in, Red. I said, somebody steal a piano? He says, you dirty rat. Yeah. I said, you got the piano? No. So anyhow, I said, I'll get the piano, I'll bring it back. He says, well, gee, is there anything I can do for you? I said, yeah, while I was in the prop department, I saw a chess set over there. It was about this big. He called over and he says, a guy's coming over to pick up a chess set, give it to him, see? Now, 5 days later, they call the house, and my wife answered the phone, and she said, wait just a minute. She said, did you take a chess set the other day? I said, yeah, no, they gave it to me. She said, well, they need it because they have to do retakes. I said, tell them it'll cost them $25 a day, and they paid it.
You mentioned Berzegi?
Berzegi.
Well, wasn't it he who introduced the Dunkin' Donut routine that you did to someone to get you the part over in the MGM movies?
No, I was the official master of ceremonies at the White House for 6.5 years under the Roosevelt administration. And every year was the birthday ball, and this one year Mickey Rooney came in, and Mickey Rooney went back and said to Mr. Mayor, there's a guy in Washington, D.C. you should get, because I would write acts for these actors that would come in, and I was pretty popular there in Washington, D.C. at the Capitol and the Earl Theater, and so most anything, if the people like you, they'll accept most anything from you. So I would write acts for these people. So I wrote one for Mickey Rooney to do that night. I used to go around and I would, with Mrs. Roosevelt, to open the ball all over town, the different hotels that were having the president's birthday ball. So I would introduce her. I'd say, now, our first lady, the umph girl of Bunker Hill. Well, she would walk on stage, and we did this every year. She'd walk on stage, this young man that was uncalled for. Says it wasn't Bunker Hill, it was Bull Run. Well, then the house would fall down, and they would wait for this every year, see? So Mickey went back and says, this guy, he jokes with the president and everything. Like I said to the president at the birthday luncheon, I says, they were pouring wine at the luncheon, see? And I says, careful what you drink, Chief. I was rolling a joint like this once.
Okay, one thing that I want to ask you, and it's not, it's a little bit heavier than some of the other stuff we've gotten into, but the donut dunking thing sort of started the business of you copywriting pretty carefully some of the things you did.
Yes.
What kind of, you know, a lot of people don't realize that you can copyright jokes and material, things like that. What kind of expense and detail did you have to go to do that?
Well, at one time it was costing like $50 to copyright something, $100 if you got an attorney. I write a short story every day, an outline, and I wait until I have 100 stories, and you put them all in one book, and you copyright that one book. I do the same thing with music. When I get 100 selections, I put the lead sheets in, I send to the Library of Congress. It costs $25 to copyright. I have just recopyrighted all my radio shows, all my television shows, because of a new copyright law that gives you 90 years and 50 years for the estate after your death. And copyright laws don't really mean too much anyhow, because the most they can get you for, if you steal something from somebody else, it's called a misdemeanor. How you try to get them to do is to steal it and say, send me the tape that you did this with, and then if they, more so with paintings and things like that, then you can get them, when they mail it to you, you get them for using the mail to defraud.
Have actors or comedians ever come to you personally and ask you if they could do a routine of yours?
A lot of the students now, they come up and they say, or young acts come up and say, I do your so-and-so and I do your so-and-so. Oh, I've stopped some people. I stopped Keenan Wynn. I was at the Chicago Theater in Chicago, and he was at the Oriental. Somebody says, he's doing your gin routine. And I says, what do you mean? He says, he's doing it word for word. So I sent word over to stop it. And he didn't, so I put an injunction on the theater. Yeah. And so the manager, they get panicky. They're going to have to close the theater down or take it out. So he changed the act.
Well, Luke, did you see, it was sometime in the 50s, Lucille Ball did a thing with a vitamin drink, Vitamin of Vegemin or
almost
something,
like
which was almost
routine.
exactly a steal from that.
Well, anytime you do any drunk character, he is not funny if he walks out and he's already drunk. You have to be very dignified, you know, and start off and you take the first one. Yeah, I'll give you an example.
We've got a gin bottle over there and a shot glass.
No, I won't do that, but I'll say something. No, I won't do the gin bottle. Just give me the hat. Give me the hat. Here. The hat. Yeah, I'll need it again now. Now, for instance, how to imitate a drunk, for instance. Now, usually fellas, they walk in and say something, oh no, it's too early, it's too early, too early. I never drink before 5. I'll have a few peanuts while I'm waiting. You ever dust these things? Oh, it must be 5 o'clock somewhere. Now they said, I'll have a single martini. Now, as soon as they say a single, you know the guy's a lush, because you just say, I'll have a martini, you know? They says, I love martinis. They don't make it too strong. Leave the vermouth out. I always drink martinis with the olive. Put the olive in there. She contains vitamin B1. While you're tearing yourself down, you build yourself up again, see? Now they take that first drink, see, and it hits them. Fill it up again, will you? Now the second one. Now after the second drink, they start to get warm, see? So they take their handkerchief to wipe the perspiration off their face, see? Whew, boy. Now when they put it back, it's never in the same position. Now after a couple more of these things, they begin to itch. Now when they put their hats back on, they, for some reason or other, a drunk is always afraid he's going to lose his hat. Like I go to a party, I don't drink. They say, have one to be sociable. I say, I don't drink. They say, well, have one to be sociable. Okay. And they say, can I freshen that up for you? I say, go right ahead. Next thing I hear is, did he have a hat? Now, when they put their hats back on again, they have a feeling that the wind's going to blow it away. So they put it on good. Now their tongue starts sticking to the roof of their mouth, you see. Now they have a couple more drinks, they start to get warm, and they throw their coats back, but they want to be neat. Want to be neat at all times, so they button it. Now, all drunks, I study two things. To do a drunk, I study little children learning to walk, because they're the same way. A drunk wants to go forward, but gravity keeps bringing them back. And they want to get over it, back into it, you know. Now, naturally, when you're doing a drunk and you're entertaining, you can go to parties and pretend you're drunk. You don't have to drink, see? But you've got to have a story to back it up. Now, this little drunk is standing out in front of a house at 3 o'clock in the morning, and the officer comes up and says, "What are you doing here?" The guy, "I live here." Well, he says, why don't you go inside? He says, "The door's locked." Boy, he says, "I knew the minute I saw you coming down the street, I was going to have trouble with you. Because you just don't look right to me. You just don't look right. I've seen a lot of people my day, but you just don't look right to me. As a matter of fact, I can hardly see you." The guy says, "Why don't you go in?" He says, "The door's locked." He said, "Well, ring the bell." He said, "I just did." He said, "Well, ring it again." He says, "Let him wait." Thank you. I got it. I get this thing. Now, yep. Careful, it'll bite you. I'm going to give it a bowl of milk and put it to bed.
We are about to run out of time, and I notice that the cigar is not lit. I hear that it never is.
No, I don't smoke. I write the commercials for the United States Tobacco Company, and I'm going to be in one. And I wish we had time. I'd get on the subject of tobacco for you. You want to cure cancer, I'll give it to you real quick. Stop taking up collections and letting go through too many organizations. For instance, did you know that Telethons, the producer of the show, gets 40%? So when $21 million comes in, somebody got some money out of it. Mm-hmm. Time it goes through all the different channels, there's not very much goes to research. Yeah. Indians use tobacco for fertilizer. Indians also smoke. There was never a history in the world have there been a case where an Indian had cancer.
Interesting. Okay.
So someday I'll come back and we'll talk about it.
I hope you will. I hope you will. We have about 5 or 10 seconds. We have about 5 or 10 seconds. I know the audience couldn't let you get away unless Gertrude or Heathcliff said goodbye to them. Is that possible?
Yeah, I did.
About 5 or 10 seconds worth.
Yeah. Now, first of all, I want you to know I came over here because I wanted to.
Thank you.
We're not plugging the show. They couldn't get a ticket if they wanted. They're sold out. So I came over to say hello and not to plug anything. They wanted me to do an extra show, but I can't. I have to get on to the next place. I was very kind to them. They said I was kind anyhow. I did 2 extra shows down in Florida, in St. Petersburg and Daytona Beach. Is that it? That's a big place when the tide goes out. And all those young bathing beauties, which doesn't bother me at all, because one look and my glasses fog up. And but Gertrude Heathcliff, she says, she says, you know, I'm going to have a BB. He says, you mean a baby? No, the kid down there in their rifle, I think I'm going to have a BB. Thank you, thank you. Bye, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Check that out.
Thank you.
Hands going